This is the bottom line with Onimwa.
Thank you, Professor Fru Angwafor, for talking to the bottom line. The bottom line is an online program destined for the diaspora and for Cameroonians in Cameroon. So, if we ask you these questions, this is the 14th session of the Northwest General Assembly. What do we expect from this assembly? Is it a statutory assembly or is it an extraordinary assembly?
Well, this is the March session of 2024, even though it's holding in April. And the March session statutorily is an account session of the previous year. So we'll be looking at the administrative, management, stores accounts, and the performance of the president of the region in the year 2023. So it is an important, apart from being statutory, it's important because the regional assembly, the members, and we meet as an assembly because the House of Chiefs and the House of Regional Representatives come together when we are presenting these accounts and presenting the performance project. It is, on the one hand, an evaluation of how we did, but more importantly, we evaluate looking at our strengths and weaknesses, and if there are any opportunities or threats, so that each year we are improving in our performance, in services to our people.
Yes, when you talk about service to the people, the concerns of the people of the Northwest are many. I mean, you talk about roads, water, electricity. First question, you are presently in the 14th session of the Northwest General Assembly. What do people of the region expect from you after this General Assembly?
I think your question brings me back to the flagship program of the Assembly, which is the Peace and Development Initiative. Precisely when we got here, we did a situation analysis. We talked to people from all walks of life in the community to gauge their conception of what the situation is, what their problems are, what are the potential solutions. And from there, we conceived a situation where in each division we have a peace and development committee which has all the stakeholders in the community, traditional rulers, administration, the religious authorities, and then representatives of vulnerable groups, women associations, youth associations, and notably village and community development and cultural associations. So this is a forum where they will meet for seminars, discussions, and then they organize cultural feasts and festivals, sports, and all. But more importantly, a similar peace and development committee is at the level of the subdivision. They do the same thing as done in the division, except that at the level of the subdivision, we have cash for work programs. Wow. So that the community will tell us, you talked about roads, water, and all.
Yeah.
It will please you to know that in many villages, the community joined the regional assembly for us to mature the community-driven, identified, initiated program.
So that the people can empower, they can actually appropriate the project and everything.
They don't appropriate it, they are their project. It's the regional assembly that appropriates it. But they are, and this is to us a translation of citizen participation on the bottom-up approach to governance. I'll give you the example you mentioned where you're from. Is it the Tezekti water project village where since independence, these people have been asking for potable water. When that was their concern, they organized themselves. We bought materials. Now they have water. The water is serving that community as well as the people from. They also did roads, which made it easier for them to travel in the villages. This was easy for us because we came back to our basic community labor and community solidarity spirit of the Northwest. So why it's important for me is that it is a project that is relevant, a project that is driven, initiated and driven by the community.
Right.
There was a 2014 Prime Ministerial decree on high-intensive labor activities, which is very clear that whatever your budget is, 40% of the budget has to go to motivate or pay the laborers, 30% to buy your materials, 10% for coordination, and 20% for the other things that you need to do. You're having seminars. If a state engineer is going to mature the project, so it comes from an idea to a project, to a mature project, the state engineer. And then the beneficiaries are recruited respecting the sociological spread of the community. And the beneficiaries or workers list is validated by the labor or employment divisional delegate. So all of these conditions, once they are met, then the regional assembly makes available the materials and means, and they follow the councillor of the area, follows the works of the community. And there is a logbook, daily logbook, so that you mark who works on a daily basis. So we're happy to say that for the first run, we had temporary employment for about 5,200 people in all the subdivisions of the Northwest. That's the first thing.
And they were saying,
secondly,
following the minimum wage and everything.
They were using the cash for work schemes.
Okay.
Are different from the usual employment. These are temporary employment, and we usually use daily work scales for payment. But the big thing about it is, when we came here, people were reticent on meeting one another. Everybody was scared.
Suspicious about one another.
Suspicious. Some scared of their shadows. People, indeed, it was an opportunity to get people together, break the ice. They started talking about anything.
There were no taboos.
Yes. And then where you had vigilante groups, we trained them on peace building, conciliation, and mediation. And a lot of them became ambassadors of peace.
Oh, wow.
Talking to their age groups.
Their peers and
so it's a project that had a multifaceted response to a complex crisis where you had issues of conflict, issues of land, issues of poverty, issues of unemployment. And this helped to foster social cohesion, harmony.
Are you of the opinion that some people are using this conflict now to settle scores?
Unfortunately, these are things that do not speak well for our humanity. You are probably right. But it is in bringing people together, in suing for the greater good, that I think we will move forward. And I think the PDI came as a local response adapted to the context. Because people are looking at the responses to come from the top.
Top bottom.
Top bottom. But I think there is some merit to the bottom-up approach. Because it also gives the people an avenue for them to express themselves, for them to feel they are important actors
And that they belong.
Their well-being. And you know what? It is also about building self-esteem. People who had given up, who have lost confidence in themselves, when you start mixing with other people, when you realize that you don't necessarily have the first school living certificate or a PhD to get a job, that our good old days community labor that they used to call job mercy, because they were doing this voluntarily for free. So some people even came and said, but this is wonderful. We used to do this for free. Now we do it and we get some compensation.
Wow.
I think to us, that's our flagship. And this to us is, I would say, a precursor of a bigger thing to come. The Northwest Development and Investment Fund.
Yes, when you talk of the precursor of bigger things to come, the general perception from the public, and especially the people in Yaoundé, is that there's a sense of normalcy in the region now. What is your take on that? Do you think that things have come under control?
I speak with guarded optimism. I mean, you drove into Bamenda this time without anyone looking behind your shoulders, or I would say it is getting better, certainly. But we are not yet there. I think we need to make more efforts for the cohesion that we need. I think that all components of the community, very important personalities, elites like you, with all sorts of experience in multiple areas of life, you need to join the not so fortunate as we try to diminish the inequalities, because the big thing about what we are doing is diminishing inequalities, giving hope, and actually translating our local belief and slogan, you na me na you, we be we.
Good. Yes, and one of the major setbacks to peace in the region was the lack of access road to the region. Most of the times when people want to come into the region, when you think about the bad nature of the road, especially the Bamenda Babadjou road, you say, let me sleep in Bagosam and maybe send what I want to send and go me back to Yaoundé or Douala. But today, there is work going on. What is your assessment of the work going on that Bamenda Babadjou road?
Oh, this is a beautiful story. You know, I want to talk to my brothers and sisters of the Northwest. Yes, we're a determined people. We're a people with character. But must we only make history that tears us apart? Let us begin to make the beautiful history that shows the great humanity that this region is made of.
One of the major projects in the region is the Bamenda Babadjou road. How do you assess the development or work done on that road since it started a few years back?
The road you are talking about, yes, is being done. But the pride of the Northwest is that the expertise, the ingenuity, the prowess, this is the son of the Northwest that is showing what we can do if only we turn around, move from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. Ask not really what someone else has done for you, But in the spirit of you na me, me na you, what you have done for the other person.
Good.
I can tell you, bonds makes us proud. And I am sure if you look around in banking, in farming, in technologies, in startups, just like we found here, look at the assembly. Bamboo chairs of quality that you cannot imagine. I had a young man who manufactured a motorcycle. He has not even been through primary school, let alone secondary school. So you see, we've got what it takes. I pray we'll have the demeanor, we'll have the moral basis to look into our interior, make peace first with ourselves individually, and then get that, stretch out that arm to your brother and be your brother's keeper.
And the urban section of the Yaoundé-Enugu corridor, the urban roads in Bamenda, it is in a dire state, and people are talking about a recent contract that was signed with the World Bank. How far have we gone with the paperwork of this project so that work can effectively take off?
Well, I'm pretty sure that something will be done. You see, there were a lot of hitches in the procedures and what should have been done right now. Coordinating such major projects, mega projects, is sometimes difficult. You know, the organization of society is such that someone is responsible for the legal aspects, another one is responsible for financial aspects, another one is responsible for technical aspects. And when all these people do not have a work plan that is in synchrony, and they do not have an action plan with an objective looking in the same direction, you will get some mishaps. There were some people who were not compensated and they raised hell. The road that should have been started was stopped. But I think all of that is behind us now. I think they've done social impact and environmental impact studies. They've done, and I think the work is, let me tell you, the stretch from Welcome to Bamenda to the Chantabia school, it's already being done. And I can assure you the rest will continue. Now,
how soon do we
don't tax me on giving you
a time frame
and all. I think the commitment is there, and I'm not personally directly involved in the process, but I am a very concerned citizen, and I think we'll do everything it takes to make movement of people and goods easy, not just in the Bamenda city, but in the region. We are working also on regional roads and all. I think, and I don't want to say we are waiting for someone else. I'm just asking you to join us so that we face the challenges and difficulties together, and together we move towards that salvation, or that, wherever we want to go.
Now, what is the regional council doing in terms of major projects like the Ring Road, the Mbechum Dam, tourism, etc., etc.?
About the Ring Road, I can tell you, the contracts for the Ring Road, not only were they given, but the work has started. The Kumbo Ndu stretch, Bonds is there working. And I think Mark is from the
Ndu
Kambe stretch.
And then Kambe Messager.
Yes. So that's done. These projects, the thing I would really like the Northwesterner to do is do a lot of introspection. Because if we want these projects to work, they will work. Because it's not all about money. Where will these contractors get workers?
From
the community.
From the community.
What will that do to the community? It increases the income levels, increases standards of life, surely give means for the sick and maybe retard premature deaths, and I can go on and on. So we need not so much look at what that has not been done, who didn't do it, but take the bull by the horn, the determined people we are, and we've charted, planned a process that is self-reliant, and we take the result to do the needful.
Most people now find it difficult to draw a fine line between decentralization, federalism, and the special status. So what are all these concepts all about? Special status. People still asking questions about the special status.
Let me tell you something. First of all, I'm not skin deep. I'm not impressed with mere concepts and names and all. That's not to say that I do not appreciate the differences. I do. I'll give you an example. There is a country not too far from here that I read about their federalism. Of very many states, less than 10 out of so many states are economically able to stand on their own. So the federal government spends its time giving subsidies to these states. If that is the type of federalism we want, that is not a federalism for development. Some people have called that fatherism.
What fatherism?
Fatherism, not federalism. So it is not because you call something federalism, it's a catchy word. You think you have power, but thrive power on a hungry belly and no economy. Yeah. But what do we have as decentralization? It also, like everything else, has its good aspects and its not so good aspects. But what I like about our decentralization is that it is a context-driven decentralization. That's why we have the special status. The PDI I'm telling you about is fabricated right here in the Northwest. And I was told that
PDF, that is what exactly?
The Peace and Development Initiative.
Right.
They said, oh, whatever you do, the government will not approve. The government approved it. And better yet, the government approved it and gave us the resources and the technical support to execute it. They told us, oh, you say you want to start an agency, it's not possible. They will not let you. Sir, the Northwest Development Investment Fund I'm talking to you about, where we've done studies on the financial structure, local finance, development finance, possibilities, was approved by the state. Which means the state is conscious of our diversity and is able to work as the central government, to work with the regional, the local governments for what? For the betterment of the community and for peace. So I think, in any case, there's no perfect society, no perfect system, no perfect country. It is up to us to make do, make amends, make a better system for us. After all, if it is doing well here, people come from everywhere.
That's true.
Just imagine, they told us there are things we couldn't do. I remember in this same Bamenda, years ago they wanted to do a dry port.
A dry port, I was coming to that, right. They said it was not possible.
He said it was not possible. Do you know? Barely 2 years into our mandate, we're thankful to government. We now have everything to start our external clearance warehouse and precinct here in Bamenda.
And where is that going to be situated?
Well, it will be situated, the permanent site will be in the industrial zone in
Magazine.
because it will be only part of a bigger innovative project where we will have an industrial and innovative park where people who transform agri products, produce from animal husbandry and all of that, they will be there producing. And imagine innovative will have a marketing and standards agency so that farmers and transformers, they will specialize to bring development where you have specialization. But today,
and the market is there.
the market is created. First of all, in our scheme of things, the Regional Assembly is an institutional market. Sir, we buy a lot of produce and food for vulnerable people. I was shocked we were buying rice, imported rice, buying imported oil. And since we got here, we buy rice, everything from them. Where's that money going? The money is circulating locally.
Good point.
So you see, I think we are so resourceful, but we must change our ways. We must listen to one another. We must value one another. So that you and me and you, we be we,
Yes,
can mean something for everyone.
yes, we cannot end this interview without talking about the diaspora. The diaspora is an important component in the development of the country and especially the Northwest. Are you incorporating the diaspora into the Northwest Development Authority, or what is the role of the diaspora in the Northwest development so far?
If you have heard what I'm saying, we bring everybody to the fold. And each time I've had an opportunity to meet them in South Africa, in the US or wherever, I have put this to the front. Indeed, since you are here tomorrow, you will receive the 6th edition of the Northwestern. And you will read the article on the role of the diaspora in the Northwest Development and Investment Fund in black and white. So this is not a story that I'll tell you. But look at it this way. We intend to have a Northwest Development Forum, and we hope as many people will come. Doesn't matter from where they are. And the purpose is to sell the region to the people, for them to see that in spite of all, 3 years after, there's a story to tell. In spite of all, they too have a role to play. They can be champions of development, the Northwest champions for investment, for development. And they should be part of a journey. Today, in this session, we're talking of transparency, accountability, and so on and so forth. The presentation of accounts. This is building a culture of responsiveness and responsibility, so that our people should begin to believe in themselves, should create opportunities to value self, chase away the low self-esteem that makes us think that our salvation is going to come from elsewhere. So let the diaspora take their right place in their different villages, subdivisions, and within the Peace and Development Initiative, for instance. And there, you saw the accounts we gave on the Peace and Development Initiative. You saw our session was live. So, if we need to build confidence, if we need to build our community, it has to come with us believing in ourselves, motivating one another, and building social trust.
Good. Yes, we cannot, as I said, end this interview without talking about upcoming elections, 2025. Most people are talking about the possibility of an Anglophone candidate to bring about peace. Is that your take?
I'm not God. Quite frankly, I don't know who are candidates, apart from those that we read in the papers. And when the time comes, of course, what that is important to me is the project the person has for the society, is the experience. It's one thing having a vision and a dream, but what have you actually done within that vision, within that dream? And maybe I'm a little bit too liberal. Unfortunately, I did not choose my mother and my father. Some people, sometimes they behave, I think they were part of the decision on where to come from.
Yeah.
But one thing I can tell you, I choose the language I speak, the type of words I use. I choose what I do, of course, with the blessings of God. So I think I was born into an English-speaking community. That is good as a Catholic man. It is up to me to use my environment, whether it is linguistic, physical, social, moral, for the betterment of life. Yes, I know you as an Anglophone. You are a perfectly bilingual. Well, I must say you are a polyglot, because you also speak other languages. Indeed, I think that limiting us to where we are from actually is not very kind. It is one way of looking down on us. Now, how about people who speak 5, 6 languages? How about people who can mix with all cultures? Who can even enjoy and live the diversity of my land of birth? Isn't that something to look up to? Why must I be cocooned and limited to some little place when I can enjoy the beauty of humanity in its diversity, in its simplicity, carried in a complex situation?
And the message from the Senegalese elections, do you think that Senegal is sending a strong message not only to Cameroon but to Africa as a whole? We saw a young man of 43, 44 years becoming president despite all the conflicts and everything, but he emerged victorious. You think that is possible in Cameroon?
Look, I think anything is possible with the proper human spirit, with a well thought of program. I'm not surprised at what happened in Senegal. I followed those two people from 2015 to 16. And they had arguments. And I think we are simplifying things. From 2016 to 2024, it's 8 years.
Yes, 8 years.
And these people built a following. That's one thing. Secondly, Senegal is not Cameroon. Look, sir, Senegal, you have basically French and Wolof.
And Wolof, right?
So they can speak to you in one of those two languages. But the mindset of the Senegalese is wonderful. These guys have flooded the international community. They don't have in their constitution a clause for language policy that you have official But you find Senegalese, my colleagues, professors of surgery, they speak French, English, Spanish, Wolof, and on and on. That is the spirit. Who says our minds are limited? The world is a big market. The more you can interact in that market,
The better for you.
with the more languages you master, the better you can maneuver in the system. So I think we should stop having the culture of reduction or limitations and look at the culture of horizons and growth. So when you start limiting people to say, I feel sorry, and it is also divisive.
That's true, that's true, that's true.
Anyway, but this, since I'm saying what I believe, don't say I didn't answer the question.
No,
frankly,
you
I've not
perfectly,
seen.
perfectly answered the question. And this last question, how do you reconcile being a medical practitioner and a politician? Today you are the president of the Regional Assembly and you're training as a medical doctor. How do you reconcile the two?
Well, I think I've always been who I am. I don't know what a politician is, but I can tell you, I'm a social actor. From childhood, I've always been sensitive to what people feel. And that's probably why I became a doctor. Like, who really is the politician I am, if you call me a politician? I'm here to serve the underprivileged. I'm here to diminish the inequalities. I'm here to make women feel good about themselves. Look, sir, in the Northwest, 70 to 80% of the population is in farming. Virtually 70 to 80% of this population is women. They own the farms. They come home, they clean the well. So, if a politician is the person who is sensitive to the needs of his community, is a person who wants to serve, then that's what I am. That's what I did when I was in the hospital. Sir, I don't think the people think I've left the hospital. Just stay here, you will see there come some in crutches to see me. I don't turn them away. I am honored if they think that I can be of some value to them. So I think service is the problem. I'm not here to take on titles or this politician. Whatever title you give me, what is important is, have I been useful to you? Did you feel good after we met? If I promised the village something, did I keep to my promise? Did I contribute my part? It may be small, but it's coming from the heart. So it is not, indeed, I'm not so sure I'm using a lot of things I learned. When I left the US, I left from a technologically advanced community then. When I came here some 40 years ago, it was like living light into darkness. But it was wonderful because it permitted me to develop skills to adapt, to feel for those who have not been as fortunate as I am, to go through this myriad of roads, courses, and things, to be the boy that I am. And I still enjoy the village, my little palm wine and some achu and those things.
So thank you for talking to sport. To the bottom line, as I said, bottom line is a program that is focused on the diaspora, especially those who are even within Cameroon. We want to make them know that they are responsible for their entrepreneur. Thank you very much for the question.
I'm very, very honored and privileged to have talked to a seasoned journalist, communication media guru. Whatever you can do to get my brothers and sisters to rethink look in the mirror and see the champion who is going to change our worlds. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.